Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the still as yet untitled podcast. Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, or good day, or good whatever. I hope that you're all doing very well, and I'm joined tonight by my friend and yours, Omondi Juma, and our special guest, Barry Miller. So, Omondi, how are you, sir?
I'm brilliant today. It feels a bit surreal being in the room with the one and only Barry Miller, someone who I know really well. We grew up together. I used to beat him up playing wrestling when he used to come around with my house when we were young. And we used to form a fantastic, feared county cup winning strike force that was immense. And we used to call ourselves Strike Force after Tito Santana and Rick Martel of WWE because we were up front. We were just unbelievable. We played off each other. And I know Barry's going to say about it, but we scored a lot of goals. Or I scored a lot of goals based on it. But Barry's gone on. And we had, our generation, West London, there's a lot of great players. Our age group had a lot of very talented players. Barry went on to have probably the best career out of majority of guys. And I think I was saying before we started, I'm so proud of what he's achieved in the game. And I know how hard, we're going to talk about his journey and everything else and all the football. But it'd be lovely, you guys, if you're watching, you have to check this out because this show is going to be probably my favorite show that we've ever done. And Bathtime, top player, as Bathtime is, loved the game inside out. We're all intrigued. We all want to probe Barry tonight or today or this morning, wherever you're watching, about the game and his journey. And it just shows I'm inspired by it, and I'm sure you guys will be too. And big up to Barry Miller and big up to Bathtime. And let's do this. Let's do this, man.
Thank you.
So, Barry, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, like bang your CV out and stuff, and also put paid to rest those rumours that Omondi wasn't a goal hanger?
Oh, well, I have to say, he said he scored a lot of goals. He used to nick my goals off the line. That was I remember we played one game. We both got 5 each, but I could have had 9 and he would have had 1, but he just nicked them off the line because he was so quick. But I've known Omondi Juma for so long, from school. Grew up together, used to hang around together and play football together. So I've known him for a long time, and I've been fortunate enough really to have a bit of a football career. Probably could have done a bit better, but I've achieved what I've achieved. It's really good to be able to kind of do what a lot of young kids want to do, really. So I'm really fortunate. I was at Brentford as an apprentice, played non-league, Farnborough in the conference, played for Gillingham, played for Doncaster Rovers, played for Burton, and I've played quite a lot of non-league. So, I've been really, really fortunate, really blessed that I've been able to play football at a decent level.
Yeah, it's fantastic to hear from sort of someone who has lived their life as football. Like, a lot of us talk about how Manchester United is a life or our club is our life, but when you speak to people who have lived the life of a footballer, there's a lot that you can learn. And I'm sorry, Barry, but the first thing I want to bring up is Farnborough and what happened in your last game for them. I'm assuming it was your last game.
What against Donny Rovers?
Yeah.
We lost. It was 2-leg. It was a final, wasn't it? And we lost the first leg 1-0, close game. And I thought I did quite well. Played the second leg at Doncaster Rovers. Massive crowd. Must have been, 10,000 there. Big game. We got battered, to be fair. We lost, I think it was 3-0. I set up 2 of their goals. And then they signed me a little bit after. So I think that that was the reason. So it weren't very good, that last game for Farnborough. But I really enjoyed my time there. That was a really good grounding for me. I learned a lot. We played a lot against a lot of old pros, old centre forwards. I was a centre half, so played against a lot of old forwards, like experienced, aggressive. And I grew up in a short space of time there in regards to football terms, how to look after myself, just really good. And I played with a lot of ex-pros. I mean, the standard was really good in the conference at that time. you had a lot of players that could have easily played in the league, but they were on good money and the conference had a job. So they're not going to go and sign for a Bury or a Rochdale because it wouldn't be financially viable.
Yeah, it's a bit like that John Bostock, who's like, I think he's ex-Tottenham and Crystal Palace, and he's like playing for Wrexham and has absolutely no desire to go.
Notts County.
Is it Notts? Sorry, my apologies. Notts County, and doesn't seem to like. I'm sure he's very comfortable where he is and doesn't really need to like go to League Two or League One or whatever to make his bread. But, so Barry, I want to know about being an apprentice at Brentford, like how that happened, what it was like, what you learned, what it was like first day you were there. Did you have imposter syndrome? Like, did you walk in like big bollocks? I belong here, or what was it like?
No, it was interesting, really. So obviously played football. I was always really fit. I was quick then as well, pretty quick, not as fast as Omondi Juma, no way. But I was pretty quick. I used to play kind of. I played up front at school, but then I played right back, and I was playing. In fact, I left school and I was going to join the army because I didn't do very well at school. My mum and dad separated and went through a bit of a dark time, and so I was going to join the army, and that was probably it really. And then I used to play men's football, so I'd have been probably 16 playing men's football, and I got asked to play. Believe it or not, I got asked to play in a veterans game. It was a pre-season friendly, and they asked me. I don't know why they asked me to play in this. And I played centre midfield, and obviously veterans don't run, do they? But I was all over the place. And there was a scout from Brentford there, and he talked to me after the game, and he just said he knew some of the players there, and he just said, "Look, I know the youth manager at Brentford. Give me your contact details, and I'll get him to ring you to go on trial there." And then that's how it happened.
Can you imagine being like the youth coach at Brentford, to getting a call saying like, "I found this great player that I think should go in the youth team." Where'd you find him, mate? At a veterans game.
No, it's not, isn't it? It's mental. It's mental. How that, I just think how that happened, that I was playing as a 16-year-old in a veterans game for a veterans team. It's just bizarre, absolutely bizarre. And how the scout was there. You know, he'd come to the game to watch his mates. He knew them all. And, so that was pretty incredible. And then got the phone call to go pre-season training, and like I said, I was always fit. I used to run everywhere, go on my bike everywhere, but when I got there, it was just like a different level. You know what I mean? Training every day. So I did pre-season there, went on trial, did pre-season, and my brother and his mates, like I'm a Brentford fan, but my brother and his mates used to go all the time. So, you know, we used to train with the first team then. It was never separate. So we'd have to go. It was just pure running then, no footballs for like weeks. And I remember going and seeing these players, Terry Evans and Jamie Bates, and and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. Seeing it. Like Terry Evans, like 6'5", huge, and you know, centre half, and I'm looking at them thinking, oh my, these are all like Neil Smiley and Guy Detsy Krasinski, Marcus Gale, and you're looking at them thinking, oh my goodness, these are like. This is weird. Like, this is crazy. I remember running with them, and I actually remember we used to, I think it might have been after I got signed. Was it after I got signed? We used to go Richmond Park, and we used to have to do these runs, and it was like kind of a slight incline, and this big one. And we had to do like 10 of them, and I remember after about my third one, I'm at the top, and I'm going to throw up, and I'm leaning over, retching, and all the pros are running past, slapping me on the head. Go on, get it up, mate, get it up. Running past, like giving you a little rib tickler. Go on, son, like, you're like, oh my goodness. But yeah, it was pretty incredible to, you know, to be around that. It was just mind blowing, really. And I felt so small compared to, because these are like, I don't know, you see they're just giants. You know, it's weird. I just felt so small. I remember Phil Holder was a manager, little bloke. He used to call him Noddy Older, and tiny little bloke. And I remember I needed a haircut, and I remember doing kick-ups, holding my hair like that. And he went mad at me. Get your hair cut. Next time you come in, make sure you got your hair cut. And I'm like, yes, sir. Like, went straight to the barber's, got my hair cut, and went to, I've got my hair cut, gaffer. You know? But it was very intimidating. I mean, it was totally different then, the stuff that happens. Totally different then. But yeah, it was absolutely incredible to be around that. You know, I'm just a normal person, and all of a sudden, and then all of my mates are like buzzing, or my brother's mates are buzzing off it because they're all Brentford fans, and yeah, it was pretty incredible, really.
And did
Barry.
you think you were going to be a footballer?
No.
Barry,
No.
your brother Stuart, sorry, he's 3 years older than you, yeah.
Yeah.
But he was a great player. He
He was better than me.
So,
Oh,
sorry, just going back, were you saying Stuart was training with you at Brentford?
No. I used to. He was a Brentford fan, so I used to play on the Sunday team with them. So I played with my brother.
Okay.
I played with my brother and his mates, like they were my mates
Yeah.
from the age of 13. So I was playing men's football at 13. So again, you grow up there because everyone wants to get you. Because I was quite little.
Craig Ravenscroft, was he there when you were?
Yes,
Brentford?
yeah, he was a second-year apprentice. Yeah, Craig Ravenscroft. Yeah,
he was a great player, wasn't he?
Yeah, very good player. Yeah, so I played right back. He played right wing. So we had a good little understanding.
Was that the new Strike Force? I'm gutted now.
Yeah, no, it weren't like the Strike Force, mate. There's nothing ever matches that. Yeah.
All right, come on. Let's talk about Middlesbrough under 12s or whatever this was that you two were in. Tell us about this great team that Omondi loves talking about.
Oh, we were unbelievable, weren't we? Used to win everything.
Yeah, county cup winners.
Yeah,
we won everything.
I think I scored the winner in that, didn't I?
I think so. Yeah, it's just standard, isn't it? Like,
I don't think you scored that game. I don't think you scored that game.
Yeah. No. I think I set you up, Barry. But yeah, it was like I say, it's a good level of players. We had so many good players in one. It was a school, wasn't it? In our school, so many good players, and we were just like blessed to be. You know, just the team was just fantastic, and we used to go everywhere, win games. I know people would come up and turn up and say, we beat you one time." Maybe, but I remember we played against Michael Dewberry's.
Yes, I was just thinking that.
Kevin Gallen used to play against Kevin Gallen and beat him. I've always beaten him wherever I played. But these are great players for our generation.
I remember playing against Kevin Gallen. He played for Belmont. I was at a team called Rustic Rangers, and they used to win everything. They had loads of them. Trevor Chalice went on, Marvin Brown, Paul, loads of them.
Dan Bowder.
Yeah, they all went on to professional clubs like as apprentices and as pros, and you knew you had a good game against Kevin Gallen if you only got a hat trick.
Yeah.
I remember we played them one week, we lost 3-0, and we thought, that was a close, good game. We played them the following week, they beat us 13-0. And you're like, it was just on a different level. You know?
We lost to Belmont 10-0 in the cup final, which is
they were just on a different level.
Were supreme.
Do you just want to tell some of our younger listeners about Kevin Gallen? Where he ended up?
Well, Kevin Gallen, he grew up in West London. He's related to Clive Allen and all the Allen family. Isn't he, Barry? And he's our age as well. So growing up, we used to play against him a lot of the time. He was big at that age, talented, could do everything with the football. And he ended up at QPR. And at one point, he was like, the QPR were playing in the Premiership at the time. And he was really highly touted. A couple of injuries really set him back, but he could have been. They were talking about England international. When they talk about Evan Ferguson, for example, today, that's how they used to talk about Kevin Gallen back then.
I think Man United were coming in for him at one point. That was when they were winning everything. Amazing player. Yeah, and talking about England, like incredible player, big, strong. You know, could finish over feet. So he ended up at Barnsley as well, and there were some good players around that area that went on to do really well. You know. It's really interesting that it seemed to be West London that was producing some good players.
South London now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny it's just funny how things move, isn't it? Like you get like Scotland just producing huge amounts of amazing players. And there's obviously still Scott McTominay, but not much else is coming through.
No. Robertson, that's about it, isn't it? And,
Yeah, Robertson nearly missed out on professional football as well. He was like working at Queen's Park, I think.
Yeah, and then he ended up at Hull, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Liverpool signed him $50,000 a week. Thank you very much.
Great, but I mean, there's so many good players but beneath the Premier League, and a lot of the time, it's more about their sort of like mentality as opposed to like the skills and things. Like, do you want to talk anything about that, Barry?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Like my brother was far greater player than I ever was. Unbelievable player, 2 good feet. I mean, I don't even know what foot he was born kicking with. He was that good. Skillful, quick, could finish. But I kind of would go on trial at places, or I'd push myself to go, and he was kind of happy to play with his mates. And I come across a lot of players, though. I'm not saying this for him mentally, but I come across a lot of players who mentally they're not willing to try. You know, I after I got released by Brentford, I just went on trial everywhere. I'd go everywhere, even if it didn't work out well. I'd go and I'd push myself to try keep fit. But there's some players really just you see some players who it's that thing, innit? You see them sitting in the bar on the stool saying, "I was a contender once," and they had all ability and then just no desire. I see it. Like, 'cause I coach my son's team. They'll be under 15s next year, and you see it with some players that got all the ability, unbelievable ability, but they've just not got the heart or the desire to. I struggled probably a bit. I weren't probably mentally strong enough. I could have been stronger mentally when I played. I look back now, I'm a totally different person. I mean, hindsight's amazing. So I think you look at a lot of professional clubs, you get the odd anomaly that players you think, how are they playing? But generally they're there because their ability. And I'd say 95% of being a professional is mental. Is mental. I really do. Because we see all the glamorous side, but you don't see the side like I've trained with a youth team, or I've had to drive in on my own and train on my own, or the manager's made me just run non-stop, So I've been out injured. So you just see the glamorous side. You don't see the other side where you've got to be strong mentally. It can be tough. It can be tough. It can be tough.
The thing for me that always struck me is that I was never going to make it as a professional footballer, but I thought I could maybe get non-league, and I always wanted to do the absolute best that I could. So when you hear stories about Peter Shilton hanging off his staircase trying to stretch his arms, I got stopped by the police once in a field because I'd attached bin bags to myself. To try and make a parachute, and was trying to get faster. I know, so I was 14 or something. What on earth are you doing? But I've kind of forgotten what I was talking about there. Oh, but this is the thing: is that the thing for me that I always found really difficult is at 16 or 17, I decided that I wasn't going to drink.
Yeah.
And I was going to have one final push to try and get the fitness up. And I just found it incredibly lonely a lot of the time, that you were living a different life to people around you. And there's so much separation. And I always think that with players that could have made it, it's the inability to make that separation. Sometimes you've got to change your friends to change your life.
Yeah, it takes a lot of dedication. It does. I don't know. I don't know if you heard of Bruce Dyer.
Yeah.
He was
he's proper pro.
He was at Watford. We played against him as apprentice. I know him really well. I know him really well. He lives near me. I'm in Doncaster, so he lives in Barnsley. He's a legend at Barnsley. He was the first £1 million teenager, and he's played in the Premier League, Sheffield United. He's played Watford, Palace. He's played for Barnsley, England under 21s. He was a top scorer in the Toulon tournament and stuff like that. So he's had an incredible career. But you talk to him, he had real dedication. During the season, he wouldn't drink fizzy drinks or eat chocolate. And I often think about that. And I'd have a sneak at McDonald's or a kebab, and I often think that there's a difference. You know what I mean? There's levels of dedication, and I used to do stuff. So I used to go and train on my own, would run on my own. Whenever we were on holiday, I'd be out running and working on stuff. I'd practice my head in, like I told you earlier, So
tell us that story. That is brilliant. That is brilliant.
Yeah, when I was an apprentice at Brentford, you'd come out it was at Griffin Park, so the ground's gone. So you come out the changing room, not onto the pitch, the other end, out to go to your cars and that, and it would go into kind of the concourse area. And if you turned right, there was a little recess area and it had the steel girders from the stadium. And we used to have a football with a rope on it. And I used to throw that over the girders and tie it up. And I used to swing it backwards and forwards and just practice my heading, running up, heading it. And then I'd just pull it up a little bit higher, and then I'd go in the gym and get a weights bar with weights on it, and I'd crouch down and jump as high as I could. And I was always practicing little things like that to try and improve. And probably heading was my strong point. Like my timing was good. I had a great leap on me, and it sounds like
a seal.
Yeah, like a seal.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the seal story, Omondi?
Well, like I say, like I played with Barry up until when he went to Brentford and thing, and then he came back. We used to hang around with each other still, and we were playing ball somewhere in the street. We were kicking ball around, and the ball was played up to me, and I was like, yeah, I knew Barry was on my back, and suddenly I said like a seal, but you mean, but what? Like salmon. Suddenly he jumped, propelled himself over me like a proper pro, leapt above me and boom, and headed it away. And I was like, oh my God, I was terrified because I think, Barry, what is going on with you? And what you just described about the dedication, the training, that drill you used to do outside Griffin Park, it makes a lot of sense now because I just thought, wow, what happened to you? It's a transition from being a boy, like you're saying, Marcus Gale was a monster, and you're training with him. Doing all those runs up Richmond Hill and all that kind of thing. I don't know how you make that transition, but I never had a dedication to do that. You certainly found a motivation. I don't know about Bruce Dyer. You mentioned about his diet. Maybe he had family back in all that foundation, but I know you didn't have it. What pushed you? What sort of mental monster are you, man, to be able to get up every morning and do that? I just don't think.
Is it insecurity?
No, I don't know. I don't know what it is. No, like, of course you want to be the best. I mean, like, if someone's playing ahead of you, you want to play ahead of them. But no, I just think I enjoyed it. I wanted to improve. That was it. And you're seeing these professionals, like, not all of them. I mean, it was back in the day they used to go out drinking. I mean, it's totally different now, drinking steak for pre-match meals and all that. But it's totally different now. But you see the dedication. And there was a guy, Neil Smiley, he played in the FA Cup final in '83, I think it was, against Man United.
Right.
When Man United beat him in the replay. And so he'd play at the highest level. And he used to talk about how he used to do like hundreds of press-ups and sit-ups a day from the age of like 14. And he still did it. And he was in his late 30s still playing at a decent level, So you see these players that have played at a high level, like very dedicated. And it just becomes a natural thing. I mean, for the first probably month and a half, I was exhausted because I just wasn't, like I said, I thought I was fit. I'd run everywhere on my bike everywhere, but it was a total different, like, it was totally different. You're training every day, running every day. I was exhausted.
But I mean, Marcus Gale was he at Peterborough and Newcastle United?
No, he played for
a different one?
Wimbledon.
No, you're thinking Dwight Gale.
Thank you.
Marcus Gale, he played for Jamaica in the World Cup.
Yeah.
He played for Wimbledon in the Premier League, played for Rangers. He was at Brentford, fantastic player, really good guy as well. I remember once he was I don't know, he was a few years older than us, not massively old, but he was really good with us apprentices. And I remember once he'd come in the dressing room, the apprentice dressing room, and he was like, "Miller, stand up," and then he'd just like jump on you and attack you. And I remember he had all his gear on. I mean, like it was fun. It was like not serious, but he'd just jump on you. And I remember, like, there used to be this table, and we fell on the table and it collapsed, and we were rolling about in the dirt, and he had his tracks on. He loved it. He was really good. We'd walk past the physio room, and this arm would come out, and he'd drag you in, and like,
he's part of the crazy gang, isn't he? He was part of the crazy gang. Yeah.
It was not like nasty. That sounds like nasty. It weren't nasty. It was just like,
it's being a teammate, isn't it?
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was really good fun. Yeah, but then you had pros that you just was like, oh my goodness.
They're like role models, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's like you see how someone lives and
like
they got to.
Terry Evans. Terry Evans, he's a rugby fitness guy, massive. He was 6'5", huge centre off, like no pain. They said that he pulled his teeth forward with pliers during a game and stuff like that. Mental.
Myth. Is that myth? Or is that actually true?
It wouldn't surprise me if that's true. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Like they were batting, he pulled like stuff like. So you hear it. But as a kid, it's like a myth, this big myth, and mystical thing, And so you look at him, and I remember on the football boots, you might have the white Nike sign. It was all black boots then. You might have the white Nike sign or the 3 white stripes. If you got polish on that, oh, they'd kill you. The pros would kill you. It'd be like, they used to call me Dusty Miller, and it'd be like, Dusty! And you're like, oh, you go to the dressing room, clean these stripes, you clean them off. And yeah, so, but do you know what? It was really, it taught you discipline, and like they wouldn't beat you up, but it taught you discipline. But you had a bit of fear then. You were kind of like, oh my goodness, that's crazy. And I remember once I used to train with the first team or the pros. I was apprentice training with the pros, and then we had a forward, Dean Williams, and I can't switch off like game mode, training mode. I just all in, and I caught him with a tackle, and he threatened me. And Terry Evans come over, and like it's like, you leave him alone, so I'll sort you out. Like, and I was like giving it the big one behind him, like little 17-year-old, like, yeah, leave me alone. But Terry Evans,
check out my haircut. I can like see it.
Yeah. So it was really good. We had Dave Webb. He was our manager, first team manager, and he was from the East End, and they were saying that he disappeared he weren't at training one day, and he was at the Craig's funeral. Like, and I remember I got sent off a couple of times. I got sent off 2 games in a row. Silly, really, but I had to go in his office to see him. Oh, I've never been so scared in my life. But what he did, he said, look, he says, I think because they rated me quite highly then. And he said, look, what you can't do is you can't miss games. He was talking about the Liverpool, before you had massive squads. He said Liverpool, when they were winning anything, never changed their team, their first team. It was consistent. You might have the odd 1 or 2, but it was consistent. And he said, he was just kind of educating me, look, you can't do that because, this is, you need to be playing. You want your best team out week after week. So it was really good, but I was petrified going in. It's
quite nice that he's kind of got you thinking that you're in his best team as well.
Yeah,
it's good management. Like.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, but then I've been with managers that throwing teapots and going mad. I remember.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, this was non-league. I think we got beat and got smashed, and the manager, they were joint managers. Believe it or not, and you can check this out. And he was on. They used to do a thing on fantasy football league. His name was Wayne Wanklin. You can Google it. You can Google it. And you'll find it. You know what? A good bloke. But he went mental. Anyway, he was going mental, and he kicked the dressing room door shut, going mad, and it was tea flying everywhere. And you kind of hiding behind the clothes hanging up because you don't want to be. If you catch their eye, you're done. Or if you look at one of your teammates and start laughing, you're done. And anyway, he kicked the door shut, and then he'd finished, and he went to open the door, and it was jammed shut. And he couldn't open the door, so we're all like, "Oh my god!" Joe pulled one of the lads had to climb out the shower room window and come round and kick it through. Yeah. So
say the name again. What's the name again? Wayne.
You Google it. Wayne Wanklin.
Poor guy. You have to be tough to do a thing like that.
He played for Reading as a kid, and then he had dodgy knees. But he said he became like a sales rep, and he said it was such a good opener when he did conferences and that, and he'd tell them name. It was such a good, it'd open up and it just everyone at ease. Yeah. Do you know what? He was such a good bloke. He was a good bloke. Good. I really enjoyed playing with him, but yeah, he used to go mad.
Did you ever have any difficulties with managers or coaches?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. You at Doncaster, manager took over, and he just didn't like me. Just happens, and that's fair enough. And then he got players in, and then got rid of me. But to be fair, when he got rid of me, Donny started winning everything. So he was right, wasn't he? He made the right decision. But yeah,
but you're a bit of cult hero at Donny Rovers, weren't you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, go on. Tell us about your song.
Oh, what about? Oh gosh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, to bring it down a peg or two, so I don't get too big headed. We were playing away at Scarborough, and they started singing, "You'll never beat Baz Miller. You'll never beat." Anyway, the bloke come up to me, nutmegged me, went round the keeper, and that was it. Never sung it ever again.
That's my favourite chant in English football.
Yeah,
I can't believe Carl Walker doesn't get that. It's madness to me.
He should, 100%.
He's sorting out Vinny Jr. and stuff.
Yeah, they sung it once, and then that was it.
Because I had them I moved from Chile to Spain to play for essentially a non-league team.
Yeah.
And when I turned up, one of the coaches was like, he looked at me like I was a piece of shit. He couldn't believe it because I was like 5'10", like pretty skinny, and he was like, "We've signed this bloke who's meant to be from like England and stuff, and all he's doing is weighing himself, like." And because I was very concerned about my weight, but it took me, I'd say, about 2 months to win him round.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, this is so ridiculous that I'm doing so much stuff to impress another man. Like, what am I doing? But like, so when the coaches or the manager didn't fancy you, did you just sort of like, you're a professional, you just go to another club, or how did you think about it?
I mean, it can be tough. Yeah, it can be tough. So yeah, you kind of know you move on, but then on the flip side, I was at Gillingham, and so yeah, you do move on. Like, they make you do extra running, make you train with the youth team. On the Friday, they run the legs off you. I remember Dave Penny made me do this massive long run, and on this run, I'm calling him every name under the sun. He's this, he's that, he's that. And when I come back, in my mind, I'd settled. When I come back, I went, "Oh, thanks, Gaffer, that was brilliant. Do you want me to do any more?" And he couldn't work it out. But in my mind, I wanted to kill him. You do this extra run. So, but there was a guy at Gillingham, Guy Butters. He played for Spurs. Played in the top level, and the manager Peter Taylor didn't fancy him. But then he got back.
Sorry, Peter Taylor's top coach, wasn't he? You played under him, didn't you?
Yeah.
Before you talk about him as a coach, because obviously he's highly rated.
Yeah, really good coach. Yeah, he could probably go into any club in the world and put on a session that they'd enjoy. So yeah,
was he at Leicester, Peter Taylor?
Yes, yeah, he went to Leicester after Gillingham. Yeah. So he weren't playing Guy Butters, and then he got back in the side, and then fair play at the end of season 2. Peter Taylor said, I'm paraphrasing, I can't remember this, but basically I didn't want him. He was out of the team, but then he come back in and just proved how good he was. And I think he won the Player of the Year award. So fair play, Peter Taylor. So you can change the manager's mind. I tried. It was difficult at times, but I always tried my best to be positive. I mean, if I went back into it now, I'd be the most positive. But it is difficult. It is difficult when you're seeing players coming, especially not doing well, and you're thinking, I could probably do a bit better in him, But it's football. It happens every club. It happens up and down the country. And the interesting thing is, a new manager might come in and things change. You might be the best thing ever, So
it happened to Pirlo. Like, it's happened to like all the great players. Like, someone hasn't fancied them, and it seems crazy. But it's like when you're in that environment and it is your life. And I mean, like, I'm sure all of us can think about a boss who just quite clearly doesn't think we're good enough and stuff, and
of course
it gets to you, like, and I'm always interested in how people react to it.
There can just be a clash, could be a clash, could be jealousy. It's just a human nature. And the interesting thing with that, at Donny with the stage Penny, he just took a disliking to me. I was in Asda, and his wife was there doing I was doing my shopping, his wife was doing a promotions thing, Dave Penny's wife, and they have them stands up, and we started talking, and we was talking about going on holiday, and how good it'd be if you could go through the season. It was coming up to Christmas. I said, it'd be great, like, to go away at Christmas. She went to me, you might as well, you won't be playing.
Oh my god.
Wow.
And, I promise you. And then I got dropped, and so I talked to him about it, and he went, "Oh, she went." I said, "Well, she was right, though, wasn't she?"
Yeah.
Just think, you were talked about with pillow talk between him and his wife.
Yeah.
Barry Miller.
Yeah.
That's how he got going.
Yeah. Tell me more about Barry Miller.
On Monday.
He's not playing anymore. She probably fancied you, Barry. That's what it was.
What's that?
She probably fancied you. That's why he turned.
What was he to say to me? Are you blind or something? Like, no chance. No chance.
Can we talk?
Sorry,
Peter Taylor, because I rate Peter Taylor. When I heard you were playing under him, you just said something really crucial about tactics, and it's really ironic. Last week we had a footballer on, and everything he was saying relates to Darius Bathtime about the dedication, all the things, and everything you're saying as well, Barry. Darius is the same. He's so dedicated, with committed to the game. And he's got that drive to get up in the early mornings and all weathers and
Monday.
I know, I promised. But anyway,
yeah.
Anyway, what we talk a lot about tactics. So was Peter Taylor the best tactical manager you've ever worked with? And what do you know about the game tactically now? You're doing under 15s. Do you know the game? Has the game advanced now when you watch people?
Oh, it's changed a lot. Yeah,
And
it's
all that
changed a
kind of
lot.
thing.
from the
So,
club.
can you talk a bit of tactics with us? And
Amonde wants to know if you know what arrest defence is.
okay, good
what?
question.
Arrest defence.
Has he been eating a laptop or something? No, I ain't got a clue what it is. I've just done, to be fair, I've just done my UEFA C badge. I just passed that. So
Well done.
Oh,
and it's
congratulations.
the terminology's changed, like high press, high block, sorry, low block, mid block, and that's just press high. Sit back, and all the terminology has changed. But yeah, I understand tactics. I mean, it's changed a lot. It was 4-4-2, and then you saw 3-5-2 creeping because foreign teams were doing it, like Italy or whoever, and then you got 4-1-2-1-2, and then you got 3 up, 3 or 5 in midfield, like 1 up front with two joining us. Just crazy, and the way they want to do stuff, it is crazy. It is crazy. Yeah, he was good. He was good. I think it's advanced a lot more. Like I don't know what he's like now. This was years ago. He was very good. I was watching the Doncaster coach from last season. Incredible coach. I mean, they didn't do very well, but he was a good coach. And the sessions he used to put on were incredible. What he used to work on tactically, and even how they used to mark the pitch with like different zones down the length of the pitch. To try and show the players where.
What? Sorry, you cut out a bit there.
Well, you imagine you've got the whole pitch, and then they'd mark lines down from touchline, from goal touchline to goal touchline. They'd mark. I think it was 4 lines, like the posts, and then outside, and it was to show players where he'd want them to be and stuff like that. So it's come on so much. It's come on so much. I mean, it's sometimes difficult because not a lot kind of get it. But yeah, the pros generally, you've got an understanding. I mean, I've met some thick people, and you'd be training.
Played with one as well.
Yeah.
Wait,
and then you'd like, because the manager would be saying something, and then you haven't heard a word, and then you say to the person next to you, "What are we doing again?" and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's pretty crazy what they do. Like when you go behind the scenes, just even at Doncaster, like just seeing it there, the fitness side of it, like the fitness coaches and the things they wear, the fitness trackers they wear, and if they've done not enough, they have to do extra. If they've done too much, then they hold them back, and they're doing urine tests, in the morning just to see what their urine, if they're dehydrated,
blood sugar and things.
Yeah, they talk about their sleep and stuff like that. So it's mad how far it's changed, how far it's come on. It's crazy, really.
I mean, for me, like, I moved out to Chile to try and get a career, and we used to do like everything was tactical. Our training, like we do the normal bit of the fitness at the start, get everyone up to level, and then we'd do the tactical stuff, and it was literally like no running, no ball skills. You stand here, you stand out here, and I couldn't speak Spanish at the time. I didn't know what was going on. But I think the thing is that like me and Amonde used to do a tactical program where we talked about where people should be and how presses work and things. Yeah. I think that when you've played the game, you obviously sort of like you grasp it quicker. You understand that you need to protect the centre of the pitch above all. Like as a centre back, you want to be seeing everything in front of you. You want balls coming from a long way out. You don't want to be messing about with cutbacks and things. And then like because you understand that, like pivots understand that, and they know where to go and stuff. Yeah. So I actually feel a bit more sorry for the people that kind of haven't played football at an organised level, because there's so much like gobbledygook, like registers and false nines and stuff, and they don't have the experience to be able to kind of process. That just means someone's dropping a bit deeper. It's like I saw a player that should be a hero to both of you, which is Chiellini. Chiellini was talking about how the role of defender had changed, and how when he went to go and give talks to the youth team, he was watching them doing passing drills, and like how like, and it was really in depth about how they should be stepping out, where their body weight should be.
Yeah.
And he remembered as a child that the drills that he did were about how you put your hands on someone. Like, and I do worry sometimes that aspect of is getting out of the game, where just giving someone a shove as they receive the ball is one of the best skills you can have in defence.
Dark art.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you see at Doncaster last year, because I go and watch the game. So Doncaster last year had a young player on loan from Leicester, unbelievable, like a Rolls Royce, 6'4" athlete, fantastic player, but physically it was difficult for him, and he couldn't head the ball. You know, unbelievable on the ball, passer of the ball, good defender. Yeah, defending's gone out of the game. Even the art of tackling's gone out of the game, and and just knowing as a unit how to work together, as a defence how to work together, where to be to support someone or back someone up, or how close should you be, and even actually, it's interesting with younger players how they close a player down. Just even that little basic stuff of it's the 4 S's, isn't it? Shut down, slow down, sit down, show down. So it's like, getting there and then getting your body right, body shape. Where are you going to show him? What way are you going to push him? Do you know if he's good on his right foot or his left foot? Are we going to show him inside or outside? What am I going to do? Is someone backing me up? Are they talking to me? So yeah, it's these little nuances like that you can't. It's very difficult to teach.
I don't even know if those are nuances, because when you're you defend nowadays we sort of talk about individual duels and stuff like that, and that's not what football is. Football is a team game. So if Usain Bolt isn't a football player because he's fast or whatever. Do you know what I mean? There's different aspects to the game, and when you're standing someone up or you're giving up the space, a lot of the time they talk about this with midfielders and strikers about scanning the pitch, seeing where everyone is. As a defender, all your choices, I suspect, because I'm a defensive midfielder, are informed by where your teammates are and the space that you're defending. So that's whether you show on the outside or you show on the inside. Now I don't know if that's true at your level, because you're physically a beast.
Tactically as well, you might be told by the manager to show people inside. That might be the thing, and you're drilled through the week that's how you're going to play. That everyone's going to get shown inside. That so it goes on how the manager wants you to play as well. Are we going to sit deep? Are we going to so that will kind of make you decide what you're going to do with your body, where you're going to go, how are you going to exaggerate a position and stuff like that. So that can, but it's the little things that are kind of natural. I guess I was always good at reading the game, so I could always kind of, I don't know what it was, just sense where the fullback, if the fullback's got the ball, I knew he was going to put it in the channel or he's going to drop it in short, and I could read it and get myself there quicker.
Did you get that at a young age, or was that just experience?
I don't know. I think it develops with experience, but I don't know. Yeah. It was just, I could just sense if the forward was going to run in, go in short, or run off, kind of make a run into the tunnel, or.
Well, it's like a combination.
A lot. It's a lot of it is through talking as well. That's massive. That is massive. Talking as well. It plays such a massive part in the game, because you could go in the game now and talk your way through it and not have to do too much, I used to play with a player.
It's a Monday's plan.
Yeah, I used to play with a player, John Crouch, a really good friend. I used to work with him as well, and he used to tell me, I used to play centre half, and he used to tell me, Barry, he goes, I don't want to touch the ball today. He says, I'm going to try and go through the whole game without touching the ball. And I think his record was something like 11. Touch the ball 11 times. Wow. Ridiculous like that. He could just hang his kit back, but he could talk, he could communicate, and I'd do it all for him because he was really good positioning wise and all that. So that's a massive thing as well. But yeah, it's all dependent how your manager wants to play.
When Barry, I'll ask you, when did you get competent enough to be able to, at this level that you're playing, to be able to lead a defence? Do you remember a game or a club you attended where you said, right, I'm going to come here and reinvent myself and lead and talk my way and lead?
Yeah, what is leading a defence, though, before you get onto that?
I don't know. can you become a leader? Are you born a leader? I've seen people being made captain who not necessarily right, but then I've seen people who lead by example, are captains, they inspire. And then I've seen people that are vocal, they're captains, become leaders. I think there's some people you see are just naturally, there's something about them that you recognize that leadership in them. I don't know. I've always been an encourager, so I've always would encourage, talk a lot in the game, encouraging. And I think the older you get, the more experience you get, the more you talk, because you want to make it a bit easier on yourself, really, which is natural. You want to. So I think the older you get, and I think when you're younger, playing with older players, you're probably not as talkative. But then as you get older, I don't know really. I don't know if it's a switch-on thing or because
when you captain at Doncaster.
Yeah, I was captain.
So what attributes do you have to have? Because we've argued about this, me and Darius, in the past. What makes a captain? Why were you chosen as captain? And
I don't know. I think I don't know really. Like I said, I was always an encourager. I'd like to think I could inspire people. You lead by example. I was never a baller and shouter. I would never have a go at people. I didn't just really encourage. So I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, it's interesting. My son, I see it in him as a natural leader. I just see he's a leader. But I look at him and we lost the cup final a few weeks back, and he's going around picking them up. Don't worry, lads, come on, get going. And I think that there's just something about people. There's something about people that you just know. Do you know? I think when you're younger, you know as well. There's someone you want to follow. Someone that's older, you want to follow. There's something about them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Really, it's really difficult to explain. I think it just becomes natural that you become captain.
I don't think it is natural. I've spoken about this.
No, I think it's natural that you become a captain in a team because of.
Oh, it's like an evolution.
Yeah, I think it's recognised. There's something recognised in you that you become a captain. But yeah, I think for me it was the more experience I got, the more vocal I got, and obviously you come out of your shell a bit. You're not. Oppressed is not the right word. You're not kind of hidden amongst more experienced players, and but you can be a leader without being captain anyway. So it doesn't necessarily, you don't necessarily have to be a captain to be a captain, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think what you're describing is something. I'm sorry to bore everyone with technical details, but you're describing something which is transformational leadership, which is the thing that me and Omondi argue about quite a lot. Where you look at someone like Klopp, he is a transformational leader. Where he, as a captain, you are still, and this is the most important thing for me, you are still part of the team. You're not like I know one player who, when he became a captain, he completely changed. Like he stopped talking to players around him. He thought he kind of went on a bit of an ego trip and stuff like that. And it was only during pre-season. It finished after that. But a lot of the time, for me being a leader is that you lead with how you play and how you live, and that when you talk about your boy getting kids dragging people off the floor, or you encouraging people, what you're trying to do as a captain is you're trying to get the best out of your team. And with 90% of people, you do that by encouraging them, saying what they've done is right, instead of there are some people who you say that was shit and you should be doing a lot better, and they'll respond to that. But most people need encouragement, and you need to almost be free to make mistakes, because your team is going to back you up.
Yeah, well, there's some players that need an arm around the shoulder. Some players can get a rocket, and that inspires them.
What were you?
I don't know really. I was a mixture of both. I used to play with a goalie that was a nutter, and he used to just go mental on me all the time. But I used to think, right, I'll show you, mate. So that inspired me to do better, right? But then I was really good mates with him. On the pitch, he was horrible. But then there's times I need an arm around my shoulder. Come on, Baz, you can do better than that. So, but yeah, it's interesting because I guess on the pitch, I was a leader. The especially the younger ones, used to look after them and that. I mean, people might tell you different. I don't know, but then I remember I had to do a speech in front of the chairman and all the players, and I was like, but there's different aspects. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah,
different,
no, that's really, really good point.
a lot of teams will have a team captain and a club captain.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of that. So someone will do that kind of stuff. Now I'm different. You know, I can talk now. I mean, that's come through experience again, and things I've done in the past. That's come through experience and learning and growing and overcoming difficulties, because that's an important thing. Like, you know, putting
Very
yourself out
important,
in a
yeah.
position where you're uncomfortable, but you know it's good for you. Like,
Yes.
I don't know. It's just, I think it's just being inspirational. I look at it's totally different, but Band of Brothers, that the World War II
The TV
series.
show.
Yeah, one of my most
Ross from
favourite things.
Friends. Is
Yes,
Ross from
yeah,
Friends in it?
yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen an episode. Looks good.
Because obviously it's based on true story, and I've read all the books about all the soldiers. And there was a guy, Major Winters. He was a school teacher, I think, or worked in a factory, and he ended up becoming like a major in the army. And he was so inspirational. I've read his books, and you just read. He's got, I think it's called 10 points of leadership, or 10 leadership points, or something to the point of the bayonet. And he got 10 things, and one of them never asked them to do something you wouldn't do, that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
you hear all these soldiers that they're under threat of dying, and they're like, we would have followed him to death. That's how inspirational he was and how good he was as a leader.
I can't watch those things, bruv.
It was just fascinating, because if you want to look at leadership, I mean, that's life or death situation. So
yeah.
you want, so you can be very inspirational without being a shouter and a baller.
Yeah.
I think
like,
what's
I don't get putting fear in people. I'm more like,
no, it doesn't work.
No,
it just
some it does. Some there's the odd one that needs that. Come on, what are you doing? Like, but then you're inspiring. But generally, it needs. Come on, like, so with my team, the team I know it's totally different, but I tell them I don't care if you make a mistake. I will never. The only time I kind of have a go at them is if they answer us back, we make them run, or if they don't chase, if they lose the ball and they don't chase back to win it back. Yeah. I'm all about, look, I don't care if you make a mistake. If you're trying the right thing, so they'll do a passing training, their head will go down. I'm like, what are you doing? What were you trying to do? Were you trying to get it through there? Yeah. Oh, no, that's brilliant. So just keep trying that. Maybe you needed a bit more pace or do it a bit sooner, but that's fantastic. I can see what you're doing. So you know when you've done something wrong. You don't need someone to go mental at you, because it just brings you in your shell. So yeah, I mean, there's different aspects of leadership, I think, but I guess I was more of an encourager, and I'd like to think I inspired. I mean, when I was quite physical. Like, I wasn't over the top, elbowing, punching, all that stuff, but I was physical. I liked to get stuck in, and I never shied away from, confrontation, one-on-one battles, and big forwards and that. And, I got bashed up numerous times. And I think when I was an apprentice, we used to play in a reserve league against men. Now it's academies. We used to play against men. So I remember playing against Gillingham, and they had their 2 first-team centre forwards playing. This is in reserve games. 17-year-old playing against Nicky Forster, who went on to do really well.
Oh, yeah.
And a guy, I think it was Steve Baker, Geordie, old-fashioned centre forward, smashing me in the face, elbowing me in the face every 5 minutes. And but that, it's not right, but it teaches you. So what it taught me is, right, I've got to look after myself, in the sense I've got to protect myself, not elbowing back, but how can I get my body position? Do I get tighter? Do I come off him? Do I do this? So you learn a lot. But yeah. It's
incredible, Harry.
Leadership's an interesting one. Leadership is an interesting one. Like, I'm fascinated by what makes leaders, and you can see it. I've seen it at Donny that they've not had a leader, and you can sense it. And then someone's come in who's a leader, and you can sense that. So. And sometimes people can be made captain. It can affect their form. They can't handle the pressure of being a captain. You can see that happen as well. So they might have a dip in form. So yeah, it's an interesting subject.
I'm sure everyone that's watching is going to be furiously typing about Harry Maguire right at this moment. But I think one of the things that you said all of it was fascinating. I don't know how you can watch Band of Brothers. Like, I get upset watching Titanic because it was real people. But when you were talking about like a club and a team captain and how you weren't good at public speaking, I always think about this for post-match interviews with Premier League players, where what is the point in sending out a guy who shows you how to entrain, encourage you and stuff like that, and then just freezes under a camera because it's not a natural situation and stuff like that. And I always think that as a club, you want like not experts, but you want people that are really good in different areas of leadership, and they all trust each other. And that's what builds towards a team for me, is that you're all greater than the sum of your parts, and it's your teammates are the ones that are propelling you forwards. How often does that happen? Never happens. There's always a goalkeeper that like is just a loony that gets in the way. I think we all know that keeper. But the last thing, Barry, because we're running out of time, that I want to know is I'm a huge fan of players taking control of a situation on the pitch. So when your manager said, like, show them inside, or, you know, like, back off this man or whatever, nothing ever goes to plan in a football match. Like, something always goes wrong. Did you and your like sort of defensive unit and the midfield come together to solve problems? Or were you not allowed to?
No. Like I actually use this in job interviews. Do you know when they talk about if you've ever had a situation where you've had to change things on the spot?
Yeah.
And we were playing a team when I was at Bonnie. We were playing Scarborough, and they had I can't remember his name. Player, he was a very good player. He used to play the number 10 role now, just behind the front two. They used to just drop off into the space, and he was causing us a lot of problems. So I just kind of said to the midfield, look, you come in a bit deeper, just the two wide players come a bit narrower. So to kind of stop him getting on the ball, and it worked. And so, these things happen in games. You'll change little things in games, or you come inside, or you play a bit wider, you know, go a bit higher, keep the fullback occupied or stuff like so. Yeah, so that does happen in games. You might tweak a little thing. But I guess if there's a manager that's adamant you don't change nothing, then you don't change nothing. But yeah, just in a game you do change little things. Just like, or just even simple little things like if you've got a big centre forward, you on goal kicks or whatever, free, come and stand on his toes. I'll attack it from behind. Just don't let him bring it into his body. So you do. There are things you adjust in games. Yeah, definitely.
We've got a few minutes left, Barry. Corners. What's the best way to set up a corner routine for defenders? Because we've discussed it a lot of times. You see the zonal marking, you see the man marking. What's defending? Defending. If you're defending the corner, how would you set up?
What I do is I get probably the second strongest header of the ball. I'd stand him on the 6-yard box, or maybe even your strongest. I'd get everyone else smart, and I'd say you just attack it wherever it is.
So one free man.
I'd just say get a good header of the ball, not marking, not tied up. You just go and attack it. We used to do that. We had a guy. I was at Hucknall. We won the Northern Premier League then. That was one off the conference, and we had a guy, Gaz Ricketts, big guy, good in the air. We used to pick up their centre halves or centre forwards, and he'd hover around the 6-yard box, and he'd pretty much all the time he'd win headers, you know, because he's not tied up with anyone, worrying about where someone is, so he could kind of go and attack it. And we do that with my team. We have two doing that. Two of the bigger guys, decent in air, attacking it, and the rest pick up.
Hang on, that's a mix of zonal and man to man. Your second best header.
See, I love zonal because it gives me a run up. If I have a run up on someone, I know out of 10 I'll beat them, get on the ball. Like, you know, we used to when I was at Farnborough, they used to isolate me with the centre half who was marking me. Everyone else would go away, and they'd just cross it in, and because I'm running onto the ball, most of the time I'd win it. I mean, I'd head it over the bar, head it wide, head it into the goal.
Girder practice.
Never into the goal. It'd go everywhere, like 50 km. But yeah, so I'd do that. Yeah, I'd have one of the stronger headers of the ball. Just you free.
And then you have a line of blockers.
Well, marking their players, and you just say you just attack it wherever you go because. I mean a line of blockers, like, you know, the small guys that physically fit. Players. Just picking up.
We're not picking up the other players, but just stopping them getting a run in.
Stopping them getting a run in. Or, marking them.
Right. Is that what you wanted to hear, Omondi?
Yeah, no, it's interesting that I think because with this zone, everything's zonal now. You're talking about the new game, how it's being played, and I do agree because, like as I said, the way you came through me with that header one time, you do if you do get a run on somebody. if you do get around someone, you're going to come through them, and you are going to have that advantage. So I'm glad you answered like that, because I would have thought you would have.
I've always preferred zonal as well, and like Marcos, I guess last week was like absolutely adamant that man to man is the best way to go. But I think you're gambling man to man.
Yeah, you have to have good heads of the ball. I think about like when I played. I don't know how I did it, but I could always. I'd generally get their main header of the ball that I'd have to mark, and I could block them. I don't know how I racked my brains trying to work out how I did it. I'd just like step across them and they'd bump into me. And I remember like one guy just so frustrated because he can get through me. But then on the flip side, that happened to me. We were playing Forest Green and they had two people marking me and one guy just stopped me running. And I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do here. I have no idea what to do. And I kept trying the same thing. That's a sign of madness, doing the trying same thing to get a different result. That's the sign of madness. But I was just like, I didn't know what. Instead of just going near post, take them out of the way. I was like, still doing it. He just blocked me. But I'm like, oh my goodness. But yeah. So yeah, it's interesting.
Well, unfortunately, gentlemen, our boss Solo says try and keep it under an hour. We've gone over an hour because we're mavericks. So I think it's the end of the show, boys. Omondi, as always, it's a pleasure. Barry, do you want to be found by people watching this show? Have you got social media or anything?
Yeah, Facebook. Yeah, they might have to have a good search of me. I don't know if you'll find me on there, but yeah, I'm on Instagram. I don't know my name. I ain't got a clue. I don't know much. Brilliant. But yeah. So if they want to connect, ask me questions, feel free. Can
I just say, I think Barry, look, this hour's flown by. We're going to ask you to come back and just
be brilliant.
Because I think the audience will be really interested in what you got to say, and I'm sure anyone out there got any questions for Barry or anything you want us to ask him, we can ask him next time. But surely Barry will be coming back very soon and tell us more about your journey in the football game. And like I say, I'm buzzing, man. Really proud of you, bro.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
And what you do outside of the game as well. Being a chaplain as well, I think that's outstanding, and you know how I feel about that as well. So
thank you.
Credit to you, bro, and hopefully you're going to be back with us, myself and Darius, very soon.
Yeah, anytime.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to try and pinch you for like a tactics podcast and everything. Like, this has been an absolute delight talking to you, Barry.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I can't say I'm as proud as Omondi is of you. I just think you're a really nice guy with a really interesting story. So thanks everyone for listening, and we're so pleased that you've chosen to spend your time listening to us. I hope you have a great day. So it's good night from me.
Good night from me.
Yeah, and I guess good night from me too.